My people, it's VJ, the brother from the ancient mother, and you know whenever you see me and Takeza behind or in front of this cam, you are watching the Headspace, Africa's most poignant hip-hop podcast, where we cover, ingest, digest, and manifest the journey of African hip-hop as it manifests. And for people who are watching in other parts of the world, it's kind of what we do, it's kind of what we're known for doing. So if you're interested in understanding, ayo, maybe rappers in Africa and break dancers and all of that, but how do they reconcile hip-hop among themselves? This is the podcast, this is the channel for that. Please press subscribe, and yeah, let's keep it moving. Right now, it's time for album reviews. I'm reviewing a project by undoubtedly the most hard-working rapper in South Africa, probably Southern Africa, possibly even Africa in general. The prolific output of music that this man has been putting out is not only like a sheer testament to just how much he loves rapping, can rap, and can move in the capacity of creating music, because it ain't easy to sit in the studio and keep churning out songs which are decent enough to enter into the airwaves, the masses, and the collective imagination of the people. I'm talking about none other than PdotO, the veteran MC from the Eastern Cape, but more well known from being a representative of Cap City, somebody who kind of juggled both worlds and is able to become a symbol of authenticity in times where it feels like rappers are glorified billboards. Now, the project is called Son of Nomsa, and it alludes to the man's progeny. It alludes to his mother, and I think in a greater sense it alludes to family origin. And you can kind of say, after years of rapping for us in the context of posse cuts, in the context of battle rap, in the context of shiny, luxurious, glorified, affirmative raps, in the context of maturing OG bars, finally PdotO decides to do something that he hasn't really done before, and that's give us a clear outline of who he is, where he comes from. So this is an origin story. This is a project that attempts to retrospectively tell the story of a rapper who many have not really understood in how he's gotten to the point that he is today. When you mention the name PdotO in South Africa, the general mass might still have a question mark as to who we're talking about, but those closer to the love of hip-hop and rap in general will definitely say, oh, I know who PdotO is, that cat with the golden husky voice who kind of sounds like Jay-Z sometimes but still holds his own. And I say this in all affectionate, complimentary mention, because the thing about PdotO is he could have easily just become one of those rappers who filter and stay in this place of sounding American. But no, he attempts to not only stretch the capacity of his own enunciation beyond the influence of, you know, niggatry, ebonics, and what many would call African American vernacular today. He does something where he sits, he reflects on his own significance as a South African and the evolution that he's undergone as an MC. And I say evolution, not just growth. I say evolution because you can grow but not evolve. And what I mean is that you can age but not realize what parts need to metamorphosize in order for you to be fit for the next phase. And PdotO has really readied himself for the next phase constantly. And you only get to do that by asking a question a lot of rappers don't want to ask themselves. How am I still lacking? Because in a way, when you understand that, you can grow beyond your comfort zone. And he does that beautifully here. There is a lush maturity that paints the embodiment of OG cruise music that is tucked in between some confessionals about growth and pain. This is a gospel album in disguise as a pop album, because the references to God, spirit, faith, inner turmoil, and the ultimate agony that screams to the question of destiny is stankly prevalent. The man literally pours out his soul in a way that I think he has never done before. the bars that PdotO tends to come with are always laced around everyday life, but this time they remain in the domain of his heart space. They're icky in a way that's raw. It's guts, it's blood, it's sweat. It's PdotO's hardship delivered in the form of raps that make it palatable enough for you to be able to listen to somebody truly reflect and be motivated by that. And not a lot of rappers can do this. And I think the production helps because it shapes this place where PdotO has found a pace that fits naturally into the climate of 808s and trap-esque beats, where if you look at his previous output, like the projects he did with Black Les, shout out Les, and of course the project we reviewed earlier on as well that he did with Chat the Dawn, P-Dot is slowly finding himself in a place of being comfortable in new age beats. And I think on Son of Nomsa he's there. I mean, he basks in it. He really revels in it. He's dominating it. And you see this in songs like Need Somebody, where, I mean, he's getting sexy, yet he keeps his dignity. Khotman, who's had this dialogue with his vulnerability and talking to this woman, but at the very same time, he understands that the audience is listening in, and he's not just objectifying, but he's truly looking at the subject matter from places that humanize it and understand that everything is about relationship. You can't get one without the other. Therefore, MCs might like bragging about having no friends, doing it their way and it being all them, but it really is all about Ubuntu. And this project is something that is highly saturated in that. The sonic textures of it speak to that. There's a warmth, there's a comfort about the way that the beats are structured and mixed. Even the songs that really attempt to kind of become low-key bangers, there's a thing about them where, I mean, they're not banging enough for the club in particular, but you could literally put them in your car and feel the energy of upliftment and kind of move your head and your feet a little bit in a way that truly inspires you. So I see this project really relating with, you know, early millennials to, you know, people older than that who are still into hip-hop and really love basic narratives packaged in a way that's danceable and allows the experience to move simple enough for them to just have good music. And ultimately, this is great music. And I think this is the first project where I can say that about PdotO, where the music is spectacular, where the songs are minimal enough because they give room for somebody who's not even into rap to appreciate the dexterity that comes into painting such beautiful pictures. And as a result, I think PdotO gives us a masterpiece that I am willing to go on record in saying is one of the most incredible projects I've heard this year thus far. We reviewed Yusuf Tar's project with Makovedi earlier on in the year, and I think this is up there. This is easily, flat out, an 8.5 to 9 out of 10 for me. This is something that on a good day pushes towards the realm of classic because it speaks to intimacy in a way that is so authentic to who PdotO is. He is courageous enough to understand that he's a rapper that speaks intimately, therefore he needs beats that accommodate that. He's able to understand that he can't rap in a vacuum, that if he's gonna tap into the general mass, he needs songs that have a bit of rhythmic diversity. He addresses that. He understands that he's gonna have to make people dance a little, and he stretches himself not too far, and it's still kind of in the realm of grooving, and it doesn't attempt to be younger than what it really is. And ultimately, nothing got me deeper than the actual skit from PdotO's mother herself, where she goes into this idea of him being a diamond and a fruit tree, and she delivers this parable. Utunozala, sometimes people look at a fruit tree and they desire the fruit that comes from it, and they will throw rocks at the tree only to get the fruit. And this fruit tree is PdotO. This fruit tree is who he is, this diamond, this unbreakable, resilient piece of cultural significance is what he is, and I would agree, and I think his mother knows him best. But as somebody who listens to his music and speaking to his fan base, I truly think PdotO is one of the most important rappers we have in South Africa, and is one of the most valuable rap artists in the continent as a whole, because he speaks for the right for lyricism to exist in a package that attempts to be musical enough to relate to the general mass, but still creative enough to push the boundaries of what it can do poetically and speak for the country in general. So I, for one, want to say bravo to an amazing project that is what it is. It isn't something that is trying to compete with a Lucas Raps or a Blackie. It understands its own identity. And God damn it, most of you motherfuckers are still in a place where you do not understand your own identity enough to actually make decent music. So listen to this project and see how it's fucking done. My name is Viwe, the brother from the ancient mother. Like I said, clean 8.5 to 9 out of 10 on a good to a bad day. But like I said, siyabonga for the immensely inspiring music. For OGs who keep showing us that this is not a young man's game. Pop culture is a young man's game. But rap evolves with us, grows with us. And I, for one, am excited to sit, watch, observe, and learn from the rappers we admire grow, and show us that growing can be graceful, inspiring, and that being young is not the tip of the iceberg of humanity. There's more to that. Growing is something we could look forward to do. Shout out to PdotO, shout out to great music. Subscribe if you haven't, because yeah, pause.